Right, welcome back. I've now mounted the interior cockpit roll cage chassis inside the main body shell. As it says in step 9. So you've got your orientation steps. So you put the front in first. You've got two rounded off mounting pegs on the front of the interior chassis into two indentated, hollowed out peg holes, and then on the rear you've got like the plate of the interior chassis, and you've got some C-shape square clips on the back of the rear bumper on the inside. So basically what I did is I turned the body shell over and manoeuvred it in like that, pulling that out slightly, very slightly, and then that goes in, and then you push the two mounting pegs into the little mounting indentated holes there, peg holes. So you got one there and one there. Very easy to put in, no glue required. And then I turned it round, and then I had to pull that out slightly, the rear bumper, and then there's your C-shaped, square C-shaped pegs there. So while I was holding this out, I got my two thumbs and very gently pushed it down, and eventually the C-shape catch things, they're locked into place, no glue required. And then you just like level these out at the back on the side here, and that's all finished. Very easy indeed, unlike the Mitsubishi and the Corolla. And the good thing is, unlike on the Mitsubishi, this didn't snap out, because on the Mitsubishi it was a C-shaped catch. Those are just two pegs. Right, another good thing I want to tell you about the white paint that I used, which was the Appliance Gloss White from Halfords. I can actually handle this without gloves, and there's no blue paw prints. Because if you remember from the Corolla build, I used TS26 Tamiya, and even though I used my white gloves, there was paw prints all over the finish. But the Appliance Gloss White is absolutely perfect. You can handle it as much as you like, and it won't put the paw prints on it. Well, with that being said, the outer body shell interior is all done. Right, now the interior stroke body shell's all done, I've got to start work on the underneath of the chassis, and I've painted all the bits on the sprues. So turning that page over, so you've got step 10, which is your suspension and your brakes. So those are more painted. You've got the brake discs and hubs there. You've got the suspension, all that's painted. So you've got gold, gunmetal and anthracite for the brakes. For the suspension, you've got the underneath of the coils in silver. You've got the coils themselves painted in blue. You've got gold and you've got black. So you've got two sets of suspension coils there. So that's step 10. Ready. Turning the page back over to yet again. Then you've got step 11, 12 and 13. So you've got all the suspension installation, you've got all that to do, and you've got all the orientation, as you can see. And then you've got step 12, which is the lower arm installation, and then you've got step 13, which is the Sump Guard installation. So you've got the lower arm installation, which is painted in black and gold on the outer, and then you've got the Sump Guard, which is painted in silver. So now all I've got to do now is put all this on the bottom of the chassis, as he says in step 10, 11, 12 and 13. Right, so I've started the underneath chassis work with the suspension, the brake hubs, the steering rods, suspension rods, whatever you want to call them, and I've glued all that onto the back of there. So the first thing you do is step 10, you get your K1 and your K2 suspension arms with the coils. You glue the J4 onto the K2 because that lock acts as a clip for the G, one of the G arms, the suspension steering arms. You get your P1 polycop sleeve that plugs into the back of J2 brake hub, no glue. And on the back of the J2 brake hub, you've got two little rectangular tabs that lock into the circular tab with a cutout. You'll see all that, and you just push that onto there and glue it. Make sure you get the orientation right with the brake calipers. Make sure you put them on the right way round. So that's step 10. And then you got step 11. You have to follow these orientation steps to the ladder. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make sure you follow that to the ladder. So this is what you get. So the step 1 is the G5 arm into the G4 hub, which is that there. So that's that. Then you've got, you glue your suspension arms with the brake hubs and the coils. There's a little hole there, you push the coil peg into there and into there, glue that down, and then you get your G9 onto the back of those. There's the hook onto the back of the J4. You glue them on first, and then you push your what's the names into there. It's very, very fiddly indeed trying to control them two. And then the G4 rod, the G9 rod, that goes into that little channel there. So that's that sorted. Then you've got the rear part. So you've got your G2 arm into the G3 hub, as it says there. And then once that's pushed into place, then you push the G3 hub into two holes that are mounted there and there. And then you get your suspension rod, coil, brake hub, just glue that into there and into there. And then just glue them on the back of the G2 arm, that's it. And then you've got your exhaust pipe, which is G6. That just slots into place there, as you can see, the slot there. That's that. And then that just rests in that little hole there. So, very, very fiddly in work indeed, but I got there in the end. Right, now my suspension steps all done in step 11. It's time to move on to step 12, which is the lower arm installation for F2 and F1. So this is F1, and that sits, well, it's supposed to sit on the front there like that. This one's F2, and that is supposed to fit on the rear part there. But I've got a bit of a fitment issue, so I'm going to put this on here like that. You can see that that won't go onto there. You can see it's way far back, because taking this off, those four little pins there, the white pins, those fit into there, there, there and there. Now they fit perfect pretty much, but like I said, test fitting that on there. That arm, that little rod is way too far back to meet that hole. So I'm probably going to have to cut these rods off. And I've got the same issue on the rear. Now, you've got these two little rectangular tabs there, one there and one there. And then you've got the mounting holes, which are that one there, that one there, that one there and that one there. And you've got the white pins that I didn't paint around the black. Those have got to fit on there. So if I test fit this, so the pins meet, but them square things, they won't meet there and there to the holes. So I'm going to have to cut the square tabs off the back of that. So just be wary when you're trying to do this, you might have to do that. Because if I stretch them out to fit them holes, there's going to be a massive gap between the brake hub and the actual suspension arm connection caliper. Right, I've now glued on the F2 and the F1 pieces. I decided to cut the rectangular pieces underneath there off on the brake hub, and I've also cut the pins off the front brake hubs, and then I just popped a drop of glue in each of those mounting pegs and holes and pushed them into place. I've done the same for this one as well, and those are now lovely and dry and even. The only problem being, when I cut the pins off, there was a massive hole. So what I've done is I've just got some normal household filler and filled those in. So I've just got to wait for this filler to dry, and then I've just got to pop a bit of gunmetal on those, well, silver I should say, just to make them look like the pins showing through. So that's pretty much the underneath done. I've just got to put this F4 piece on, which will actually sit on top of the front piece as the sump guard. That's the only thing I've got to do now. Right, I've now glued down the sump guard. I've only just put it on. So there's a pinhole there, a pinhole there, and a pinhole there, and a pinhole there. So I'll just put the drop of glue in each one. Lined it up at the front first, looking this way. Once that was lined in, I brought that one down and then just lined them two pinholes on there. And those are now glued down. So again, all I've got to do to complete the underneath is just paint where I've put the filler on. So that's the underneath complete.